Welcome back. We're in Rice's Appliance Kitchen with the executive chef, Jason from Brio's. Oh, this is looking good. Lots of spaghetti going on here. What are we making?
Definitely, we're going to make one of our, two of our spaghettis. So that's going to be up on our upcoming menu in November. So one of them is going to be our spaghetti bolognese. So we'll get that working because that one takes a little bit longer.
Okay.
So we've just got a little bit of our house-made bolognese sauce. And we're just going to warm that up in this pan. And then we're going to go in with our house-made pomodoro.
So all this is made in-house?
Yes. So it's one of the things that's going to be coming up on our new menu is really just focusing on homemade things, homemade ingredients, and just going back to real Italian food. Just super simple and just great flavors.
When you choose the meat for the bolognese sauce, any special considerations?
Yeah, well, we use a ground beef and we use a ground pork in our bolognese, so it just adds a little bit more fattiness to it, and then you get the leanness from the ground beef in there.
And with the fat comes the flavor, and I think we all, whether we like it or not.
So while our sauce is heating up, we're actually going to make our spaghetti pesto. So the spaghetti pesto is the simplest one that we're going to have on the menu. So we're just going to heat up the pasta. Literally takes 10 seconds to heat the pasta up. Now, obviously, we've already pre-cooked the pasta. Okay. So it's just pre-cooked. Yeah. Takes 10 seconds and some nice salted water. We go right into the bowl. We're going to go right in with just our pesto sauce. Now, the pesto sauce, we don't actually heat it up beforehand because of the fact that this way here, we're going to keep that basil and parsley nice and bright inside. Because otherwise, with the basil, you're going to darken it up if you heat it too much.
So you can change the flavor of the basil by cooking too much?
Very much.
Okay, good to know.
And then we're just going to toss it together, and then that's going to go right onto our plate.
That was so easy.
And that's literally it.
So if we're reheating pasta at home, because I know that's a nice option during the week, any tips as far as don't take too long to heat it up?
No, it doesn't take too long, because really, if you cook it all the way to start with, and then you cool it down just in the refrigerator with just a little bit of olive oil on it, so that way it doesn't stick together. Because otherwise, as you're cooling it, the starches are going to stick it all together. So really, you're just going to put it in the cooler, cool it down, and then when you go to heat it up, you can even just heat it up directly in the sauce if you really want to, instead of having two different pans, especially if you're at home. You know, in the restaurant, it's a lot easier because we have the hot water and we can heat it up in literally 10 seconds, so you don't overcook it, but just kind of get the chill out of it.
Because once you put it into one pan, I think that's
yeah,
helpful.
Right.
And olive oil to store it. I had never thought of that. That's a great tip.
You always want to put the olive oil on it to store it, just so that way it doesn't stick together. It'll get all clumpy and not very friendly.
I have a question for you about reheating.
Yep.
Now, usually I take some food home. Do you put it in the pan or do you put it in the microwave? That's always a discussion.
Well, you can put it in the pan, but if you put it in the pan, and let's say it's like a pasta, you want to even just add a little bit of salted water to it. And that way it'll kind of bring the sauce back up, because as it sits and it cools with the pasta is actually going to soak the sauce into it. So by adding a little bit of water, it'll kind of rehydrate it a little bit.
Okay.
Bring the sauce back without really changing the flavor.
Is it okay to microwave it to heat it up?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, especially at home, I mean, it's quick and easy. You know, and if you cover it, then that's going to kind of do the same thing. It keeps all the moisture inside, so it's going to it's not going to dry out too much.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I'm a microwave
I feel guilty when I microwave.
I mean, microwaves have their purposes.
It's a convenience, sure.
So now with our bolognese, we're just going to go in with a little bit of Reggiano.
It smells great.
And then we're going to toss a little bit of olive oil into it. And then again, we're just going to take our pasta out, draining off some of that extra water.
I love the idea of mixing everything together as it's heating.
Yeah.
Instead of separate, especially for reheating.
Oh my goodness, that smells so good.
Yep. And that's it. You know, so super simple. And that's going to be kind of the focus of our new menu coming up. We've got a fifth generation Italian chef that's really heading up the company now, and he's brought in a lot of great recipes from.
That's really exciting. That'll be the new menu that will be at Brio Tuscan Grill in November. Lots of great pasta dishes and a little bit of a pushback to the authentic Italian. We're very excited to join you also for Taste of UTC. Thank you, Jason. Renee, thank you so much for being here. We look forward to tuning in and seeing you every Sunday morning at 7:30 on Black Almanac. Kathy, of course, always great to have you. Fingers crossed, break a leg for your stand-up comedy next week. We will be checking in with your mom to find out how it goes. We're going to dive into some pasta here. You take some time. Enjoy the Suncoast view.